Microphone. Welcome to the April 14, 2025 meeting of the Florissant City Council. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, please call the roll.
Caputa. Here. Shildroth. Here. O'Donnell. Here. Pagano. Here. Siam. Harris.
Here.
Manganelli. Here. Egan. Here.
The next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. Are there any corrections, additions to the meeting minutes of March 24th, 2025? Hearing none, Councilman Manganelli moves to approve the minutes, seconded by Councilman Siam. Any discussion?
Oh, he wasn't here.
Oh, okay. Seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting minutes are approved. Thank you, Councilwoman Pagano. The next item on the agenda is an Eddie's Hero Certificate for Bridget Caldwell, presented by Chief Fagan. City Clerk, please read the certificate.
Bridget Caldwell is passionate about supporting the military and veterans. She founded Bridge the Gap Youth and Heroes Initiative. Her volunteer work began at age 7 with Heroes Care, Flags of Valor. She has organized holiday card-making events for service members, collected and packed donations for Toys for Tots alongside U.S. Marines, and welcomes veterans at the Greater St. Louis Honor Flights. Bridget has also contributed to organizations like the Mission Continues, the Fisher House, and the Kauffman Fund. Her dedication and impact make her a true asset to the Florissant community. I know, I was not expecting it.
Sure. Come here, Eddie. Come on. This way.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Congratulations, Bridget. The next item on the agenda is hearing from citizens. This is a time to speak to the council on any issue, not necessarily on the agenda for 3 minutes. This is not a question and answer period. If you would like to speak to a council member or the mayor, please stay until after the meeting is over. If you are here to speak on a public hearing, please wait and speak when the public hearing is announced. Okay, we have no comment cards. Are there any? Okay. The next item on the agenda is communications, of which there are none tonight. Next, we have on the agenda our public hearing section. Public hearing number 2504009.
In accordance with Section 405-240 of the Florissant Zoning Code, a public hearing will be held by the City Council of Florissant, Missouri in the council chambers at 955 Rue St. Francois on Monday, April 14th, 2025 at 7 p.m. on the following proposition. To authorize a special use permit for Selective Solutions, LLC, to allow for a monopole cell tower in an R4 single-family dwelling district for the property located at 1735 Charbonneir Road. Citizens will have an opportunity to be heard. Anyone with special needs should contact City Clerk at least 5 days before said public hearing by calling 839-7630 or email cityclerk@florissant.com.
Is the petitioner present tonight? Will you please come forward, sir? Okay, please state your name for the record and your city.
Sure. My name is Jackson Nadinger with Selective Solutions, and I'm out of Valley Park, Missouri.
Okay, do we have any questions from the council here? I'm sorry. Oh, yes. Would you just tell us about the project first?
Yeah,
Thank you.
We are working with Harmony Towers. They are looking to put up
Arbiter.
Yes. The goal here is to address a gap in coverage for T-Mobile.
But this tower is being built for multiple carriers. It's monopole style and tower, meaning it's a single steel pole, so it's not going to have any of the guy wires. It's not the triangular lattice sort of tower. That's kind of what we're proposing and why. I'd be open to any questions.
Okay, we do have a question from Councilman Manganelli first.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Bean, welcome. I should mention St. Ferdinand is my parish, but I receive no compensation out of this or anything like that, so I do not have to recuse myself. As far as where you're sitting, the code calls for the surrounding fencing area to be of like materials of the surrounding area, which brings up a brick wall surrounding instead of a chain link fence. Is that something that jeopardizes the project for building that?
Yeah, so what we are proposing is a chain link fence, and that is for multiple reasons. Mostly that is coming from the church and the school. That's actually their request. What they are stating is that let's say that there's a person that comes onto the property that shouldn't be there and is able to hide behind a site-proof wall. That would cause a security concern. And then as well, there's always the off chance, let's say some child would, they kick their kickball over that wall and end up inside of that wall climbing over to grab that. Being able to visually see what's happening in that area is important.
Okay. How tall is this wall going to be, or the fencing would be, which would basically be the height of the wall?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're proposing a 6-foot fence with barbed wire.
Okay. What is standard around the other cell towers as far as fence height?
Yeah, that is fairly standard. And now barbed wire is not a requirement. That's something that we would ask for. But if the council would, prefer no barbed wire, we would certainly agree to that condition. If that were the case, we might ask for an 8-foot fence. Again, just for security and those sort of concerns, but not a requirement on our end.
Okay. Like I said, the ordinance reads that, again, that it has to match the surroundings of, and I did look at a lot of different towers today, and a lot of them they all had chain link fences around them.
Right.
But they all had, the surrounding areas, we were all chain link fences, no buildings, so that kind of made sense when I heard of the ordinance and everything and read through that. Okay, I know it's their request. Would you still build the tower with a brick wall surrounding?
Before I answer that, I do want to call out that there is a Missouri state statute that would apply here that dictates, I guess, what a jurisdiction, a local city, county jurisdiction can and cannot require as far as the appearances of a tower. So with that being said, we would be amenable to that. However, we are requesting that, again, at our request and that of the property owner for the school and church's security concerns, that a chain link be approved.
Okay. I guess my next question then would be for Mrs. Graves. This would be in direct violation then of the ordinance. How would we do, I guess, with the way the proposal reads now, will we have to grant a variance first?
don't want to just answer you and repeat what they said right here. My apologies. I apologize, Councilmember. I can certainly look into that and compare that with the state law and answer this to the, to hopefully what is the satisfaction of you and the applicant, but I don't want to do that without knowing all of the facts and both of the laws that we're talking about. Be happy to look into that before the next meeting.
Okay, all right, thank you. And Mr. President, I think that's all I have for right now.
Thank you. Mr. Shildroth.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Bean, do you have any other towers in the city of Florissant?
Just quick correct. My name is Jackson Nadinger.
Oh,
I'm here on, no, it's all right. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Bean, so I just,
Okay.
for the record. As far as other towers in the city, I do not have that information offhand. However, I've been with Selective Solutions for a little over 10 years, and we have done, for other clients, we have built other towers in the city. But I'm not able to, at this moment, say that Harmony, this particular client has a tower or tell you where they might be.
Okay. Could you tell me about the maintenance to the tower? Like, will it need to be painted periodically or anything like that?
So these towers, they're manufactured and installed with, the stainless steel finish, I guess, kind of the steel finish. So there's no paint on the tower. And as far as maintenance of the tower, they inspect it periodically. Anytime that there's any sort of antenna swap out or changing of equipment that's on the tower, they do a physical check on the tower. They do a structural analysis. And then for ground maintenance, they've got local crews that come out and do weed control, stuff of that nature for the ground level.
What about the tower itself? Like, does it weathered? Would they have to treat it with something? Or?
No, they're built to last. That's what I can tell you.
Okay. I can't quote the P&Z minutes, but if they and our building inspector or commissioner wanted the brick enclosure, I would not want to flip planning and zoning. And if it would be screened with brick, you would pay for that, right? As you would a fence.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah, and I'm looking at the agenda. I guess this might be an enclosure of the agenda. I'm not sure. This is numbered page 15, but looking at line number 81, 81, under staff recommendations, is that a chain link fence compound is approved for installation as depicted on site plan.
Okay. I'm probably going to check with our building superintendent on the enclosure. Are you privy to, or can you disclose the financial aspect of this so far as the church?
Are you referring to maybe like the ground rent that would be paid to the church?
Yes, sir.
I'm not privy to it, and if I were, I wouldn't be able to
You couldn't
disclose that, no.
Okay.
No.
Well, I'm going to go back to one of my statements. I'm going to check with Miss, our building commissioner. If she's suggesting, verbally or in another document, the brick, I would find it very hard. I think since I've been on council, this body has only flipped planning and zoning with a opinion one time, and it dates back to 2005. So I would be very hesitant to do that, given the fact that your company is graciously going to pay for the either the fence or the brick enclosure. I think, barbed wire is more dangerous than brick. And the fact that the church is going to be getting a check from you monthly, yearly, quarterly, whatever. In full disclosure, just like the city does at Bangor Park. It's in my ward, so I know a little bit about cell towers and contracts and screening and maintenance. That's why I was asking those kind of questions.
Sure.
I appreciate your honesty and your time, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, and if I could add, again, I don't want to come across as saying that, this project would go away if a wall were to be, a decorative
Required.
wall versus a fence were to be required by you folks. Again, we're asking, and obviously there's a financial aspect on our end. Chain link is cheaper than a brick wall, or what have you. But again, this is really stemming from the property owner, which is the church and the school, and their security concerns.
I understand.
So, okay.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to go over to Mr. Councilman Egan.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, that's my parish as well, sir. And I understand what the ordinance is written with the brick screening, and you're saying that planning and zoning said that the fence screening was okay. If someone would get it back in that enclosure, whether it be brick or chain link, is there an immediate danger about electrocution or something to them, or is it just getting on the tower that could cause them problems?
Really, the concern from the church's side is it's really not, electrocution or anything really to do with the structure itself. It's the fact that it would be a site-proof kind of hiding spot, if you will, for, someone that's not supposed to be there, someone that, doesn't intend well. As far as the, climbing risk or, electrical, this or that would be the same if it's chain link, brick wall, or if this is not. There's electrical meters that are on every building that have the same risks of, everything else that aren't fenced in.
So there's not necessarily inherent danger about them being in that enclosed area?
Correct, yeah.
And you could put barbed wire on top of a brick enclosure, could you not?
We could,
Yeah. Just pointing it out there, but
Yeah.
I do know that we have some, I understand the church is concerned because we do have a couple individuals that kind of hang around up there. And I understand why. I know we have a couple parishioners here. It'll be interesting to see if they have any comments moving forward about this. That's all I have right now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Kabuta.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, welcome. My question is, right now you have this at 124 feet. Is that your top height that you're allowed, or that what you would have to go?
So 124 foot would be to the top of the lightning rod.
Correct.
So the top of the tower is 120 foot, and that's all that we're asking for at this point. We understand that if we were to ever go higher, we would come back before you and ask for an extension, something like that. So at this point, 120-foot tower, 4-foot lightning rod, that would be the max.
And also you have for future antennas, you go down 105 foot and then to 95. What is the lowest you can possibly have for them antennas?
Well, we can, they can install them as low as they want. It's really a matter of kind of marketability. If you get to a certain height, let's say you're at 50 foot, it's just not as beneficial from a network perspective. When you see something like a microcell, which is it's something that's mounted to a telephone pole, that might only be 30 feet, but the intention of that sort of installation would be to cover an intersection, maybe half a block, something like that. Something like, this tower that we're proposing is we call it a macro cell, and so it more meshes into the rest of the network. And so, as far as minimum height, there's really no minimum. It's whatever any individual carrier would find usable is where they can install an antenna.
So this could possibly be a multi-company antenna?
Yeah. This tower, it's being manufactured and initially constructed for a total of 3. If something were to roll around, then we want to put 4, 5, 6 on there, what have you. Those lower, we call them RADs, lower levels would be available. And then there's also modifications that can be done to the tower to beef it up and, let it be able to hold, additional weight.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Caputa. Councilwoman Pagano.
Yes, thank you. Hi. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the fence. I'm going to go to Ms. Graves. You're looking into the brick and his Missouri statute, correct? Okay. And then my question in here, you're saying barbed wire. Nowhere in this do I see barbed wire, even on, but, I could be missing it, but on the page 15, or what is the chain link fence compound is approved for installation as depicted on the site, and 6 feet in height is what I see. So if he were to have to go to 8 feet on that with no barbed wire, does that have to be re-amended? Do we have to amend that bill again to go 8 feet with no barbed? I'm not for the barbed wire. I don't care what.
Sure.
I don't even like the looks of it.
Yeah.
And it scares me.
Well, and if I could, barbed wire is not a necessity. That going back to kind of what's the standard, it is 6-foot barbed wire. That's standard. We would not be opposed to 6-foot no barbed wire. Again, I hate to say wouldn't be opposed to, but, we would be agreeable to the decorative enclosure that is called out in the ordinance.
Right.
So,
Okay, that was just my question on, because I didn't see the barbed wire in here, but I'm going to tell you I'm against the barbed wire. So that's it. Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Manganelli, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, quick one. If we do go forward with a chain link fence, I can remember my youth climbing fences, and there were some fences that were constructed to where no barbed wire, but it's very hard to get over the top because it's open. Yeah, where you got points sticking up. Is that a style of fence that you could put up if it comes to that?
Absolutely.
Yes, because along with Ms. Pagano, I am not a fan of the barbed wire either. I think it's just a bad look for
Yeah.
Ward 2, definitely. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, thank you, that's all I have.
Okay, I do have a question. The base of the tower there, inside the fence, what is that material?
So as far as ground cover, so that is gravel.
Gravel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apart from, within that, I want to say it's 30 foot by 60 foot. Give me 1 second. I apologize. I don't want to misspeak on the dimensions. But regardless, within that, 30 foot by 70 foot compound area. That would all be gravel, with the exception of, obviously, the tower itself is going to have a concrete base. And then each carrier, which initially right here is going to be T-Mobile, they will have their own concrete pad that they'll pour. They'll put their, equipment on it, and then there's going to be, a wire run that goes to the tower, up the tower, and powering the antennas.
Okay, I see. Thank you for explaining that. Before we close the public hearing, is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this public hearing? Come on forward, sir. And could you stand by, too, just in case there's a question? Thank you. Okay, please state your name and city.
My name is Stan Ebersol. I'm a Florissant resident. I live in 2430 Gentke Drive. I'm also a parishioner of St. Ferdinand Parish. And I wanted to emphasize, I'm also on the Finance Committee of St. Ferdinand. I'm also on the Maintenance and Grounds Committee. We specifically, I want to reiterate what he said, we specifically want to be able to see who's in that complex when they're there. We have situations almost every week where we have people coming across our campus because there's no closure to our campus. They're walking, and we want to be able to see who's in that facility. It's not it's a security issue on our behalf. We have cameras all over there if you want to come see what we got. And we're afraid we're going to have some issue come up there, and we've had certain issues over the years, and we need to be able to see who's in the complex. That's why we want chain link. We don't care about barbed wire, whatever you call it. That's not important. But we want to see who's in the facility. Because these guys aren't, the people that run the tower aren't there 24/7. And one of the things I heard said that it was, it wanted to have it so it was like material. If you look at the fence between us and the shopping area that's between us and that's chain link fence. It's not a brick wall.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have.
Stan, would you consider putting if that was going to be the way it has to be, would you consider having a camera put in there so you could see who's in there?
We'd definitely do that. Yeah, wouldn't be a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Shildroth, do you have a question?
Mr. Ebersol, you're not getting off that easy.
Okay, would you come back? Mr. Shildroth, I'd like to talk to you. Thanks.
So you could live with a brick enclosure with a camera, is that correct? I just want to be sure I understand.
No, because the cameras aren't manned 24/7.
Okay.
But our people are seeing what's going on.
Okay,
And our parishioners are there and they can see what's going on inside the fence.
okay,
That's why we want to have it open.
okay. I'm sure some people know, maybe not a lot, but you served on planning and zoning for many years, correct?
Oh, not many, not maybe two
Two?
years. My job took me away from town for a while. and I hated
Okay. And how would you have felt with something like this if the sitting council would overturn a decision made by planning and zoning? No matter what it is.
Hey, you guys are getting big money for this job, you know, what can I say?
So
I don't really have a problem with.
So my question is, you wouldn't have been offended back in the
No,
day?
I would not have been offended because you have the final say.
Okay.
They made that stipulation for the brick at the last meeting, and I was here for that. And I didn't care for it at that time, and I said, we're going to bring it to the city
Okay.
council.
I appreciate your honesty, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to comment on this public hearing? Come on forward. Please state your name and your city.
My name is Jim Bean, and my brother owns the company, so I'm here unofficially on his behalf. And I actually live in Hazelwood, but my wife and I are actually trying to become residents of Florissant. And I know one of the concerns was keeping the aesthetics. And in our travels of looking for homes, we've been down south, up north, you name it, I think we've been there. And my brother Russ loves to brag about where he's put towers. So as just a fun thing for us to do, we go check them out. And some of the towers are in some good locations, some are not so good. But I have seen some that have had those brick walls. And after a few years, those things just look nasty. And I think a chain link fence that everybody's suggesting, I think would suit the aesthetics better because it's easier to repair, keep it painted easier than having to come in and have a mason come in and tuck point it and replace brick and that kind of stuff. So that's, hopefully that'll sway your decision to allow them. And my brother, being the thrifty person that he's trying to be, it says it's actually more economical for a chain link than the brick, because he says it's really quite expensive. He didn't get into details because I don't understand half of what he talks about sometimes, but he did say that the chain link was the better choice for, especially that area with the safety concerns.
Thank you.
That's all I
Thank you for
have.
your comment, Mr. Bean.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Are there, Mr. Caputa, do you have another comment or a question?
Yes. During the P&Z meeting, was any kind of like a wrought iron fence brought up instead of a chain link or the masonry? Or brick wall?
I can't speak to that. I believe that the kind of the two options that were discussed were site-proof, and if it's not site-proof, it was going to be chain link. And I think the distinction between site-proof and visibility was the bigger discussion.
All right, that's all I have.
Okay. Before we close this, are there any more comments from the audience? Come on up, Mr. Bean.
And sometimes my mind doesn't always work the way it should. But I think somebody had a question if my brother's company had built other towers in Florissant. I do know there's one in the old shrine at St. Ferdinand that when my wife and I got married over there, we were the first wedding after the flood. And when he came up, he goes, see those shutters at the top of the bell tower? We put those in because the tower is actually in that bell tower, and it blends right in. So that just kind of shows, hopefully, the quality of work that he will do with the one over at St. Ferdinand Church.
Thank you.
Now I'm done. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay. Seeing no further comments, Councilman Egan moves to close this public hearing, seconded by Councilman Caputa. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. This public hearing is closed. The next item on the agenda is old business. The first item is bills for second reading. Bill number 10056. Councilman Siam moves for a second reading. You have to read it. Right here. I see. Councilman Siam moves for a second reading, seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Ordinance authorizing an amendment to B5 ordinance number 6504 to allow for changes to landscaping plan located at 2090 North Highway 67 for Galaxy Nail Bar.
Councilman Siam moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilman O'Donnell. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Ordinance authorizing an amendment to B5 ordinance number 6504 to allow for changes to the landscaping plan located at 2090 North Highway 67 for Galaxy Nail Bar.
Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill? Hearing none, clerk, please poll the council for the final vote.
Caputa. Yes. Shildroth. Yes. O'Donnell. Yes. Pagano. Siam. Yes. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Egan. Yes. Egan. Yes.
Okay. Bill number 10056 passes and becomes ordinance number 9055. Next, we have bill number 10057. Councilman Siam moves for a second reading, seconded by Councilman Shildroth. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Ordinance to authorize a special use permit for Guadalupe Garcia, DBA Casa Garcia Mexican Grocery Store to allow for a carry-out restaurant inside the grocery store for the property located at 2726 North Highway 67.
Councilman Caputa moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilman Manganelli. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Ordinance to authorize a special use permit for Guadalupe Garcia, DBA Casa Garcia Mexican Grocery Store to allow for a carry-out restaurant inside the grocery store for the property located at 2726 North Highway 67.
Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill? Hearing none, Clerk, please poll the council for the final vote.
Caputa. Shildroth. O'Donnell. Pagano. Cyan. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Egan.
Bill number 10057 passes and becomes ordinance number 9056. We have substitute bill 10058. Councilman O'Donnell moves to accept substitute bill number 10058, seconded by Councilman Egan. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried and the substitute bill is accepted. Councilman O'Donnell moves for a second reading, seconded by Councilman Childress. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Ordinance to rezone the property located at 900 North Lafayette Street from B1 Local Shopping District to a B5 Planned Commercial District.
Councilman O'Donnell moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilman Manganelli. All in favor? Opposed?
Ordinance to rezone the property located at 900 North Lafayette Street from B1 Local Shopping District to B5 Planned Commercial District.
Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill? Hearing none, clerk, please poll the council for the final vote.
Caputa. Shildroth. O'Donnell. Pagano. Cyan. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Egan.
Bill number 10058 passes and becomes ordinance number 9057. New business. Do we have any board appointments this evening? Okay. Mayor Lowry?
I don't have any, thank you.
Okay. There are no appointments. We'll move on to requests. Councilman Egan moves to approve the request for a full liquor by the drink and Sunday license for Louis Italian Ice located at 1616 Shackelford Road, seconded by Councilman Siam. We do have some discussion here. Councilman Egan.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and invite the petitioner to the podium to answer questions.
Councilman Egan moves to suspend the rules, seconded by Councilman Childress. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The rules are suspended. Mr. McBride, would you please come forward?
Good evening, Board. How are you?
Good evening. Please state your name and your city.
Jared McBride, Sr. I live in St. Louis City, but my business is in Florissant, 1616 Shackelford Road, Florissant, Missouri, 63031.
Okay, I do believe we want to hear more about your business and your plans
Sure.
for the liquor license. I do appreciate you're my ward, and I come in quite often.
Right.
Really good stuff. Known you for a while, getting this going. It's been fun watching you do this. So,
Right.
Can you tell us where you're going with this?
So, one, I am not a full bar. If you've ever been in my establishment, I believe Councilman Jackie Pangill's been in there, and Paul Manganelli's been in my shop. I am not a full license. My lease will not allow me to be a full bar in there. And then my leaseholder did sign off on my liquor license, because all I'm doing is making, anybody heard of a company called Clementine? Clementine Ice Cream, have you heard of them? They have ice cream with infused liquor. That's what we're doing. It's not a drink. It's not something that you can sit there and slosh down. It's an ice cream infused with alcohol in it.
Okay.
That's what we're doing. And that's with my Italian ice.
All right. Thank you. Councilman Egan.
Thank you. This is for our attorney. Should we grant this full liquor by the drink license and Sunday request? Am I incorrect that he could put a bar in there?
No, you're not incorrect.
Okay, well, I do have a couple issues with this plan. First of all, our ordinance currently states that you can't sell alcohol within 100 feet of a school or a house of worship. Now, what the ordinance does not say is how do you measure that? And the practice of the city has always been, or has been in recent times, to measure from front door to front door, which you're 300 feet away from the school. I think that the spirit of the law is that our ancestors on this board did not want alcohol to be sold directly across the street from a school. I think every hamlet, every village, every city, every county, every state, and including the federal government, we monitor the sale and the use of alcohol because we know of the problems that can be. I do think that recently we've had business owners that have pushed the envelope on our liquor licenses. And I could give you a list of examples, but to be very candid with you, we've had art studios, nail salons, even a clothing store that was given a liquor license at one point in time. And I think we have to be very, very careful when we open Pandora's box, especially in this situation that we can't close it, according to what our city attorney has just said. What's next? Ms. Pagano, I believe you own an auto repair shop. Maybe we take that third bay and we put a bar in there and George can sell beer. Okay, Mr. Maganelli, I believe you sell insurance, right? Maybe some martinis while you're giving quotes. And of course, Mr. O'Donnell works at a funeral home. You could have Finnegan's Wake and Hutchins Funeral Home right there. And I say that with a little bit of tongue in cheek, but the problem is that we currently have had businesses that have really pushed the limits on our liquor licenses. And I'm very concerned that once we open this door, we can't close it. We currently have, I believe, 2 snow cone stands, at least 4 or 5 frozen custard stands, and maybe a couple standalone ice cream parlors, none of which have a liquor license, and all of which are seemingly successful. So my question is, where does this all end? And I just don't think that this is going to be a good fit for the city, and I will be voting against this. I do understand, Mr. McBride, that you would enhance your business. I've been by there, and if you wanted to work on a drive-through window, I would be willing to work with you on that. If you wanted to put a patio setting in, I think the city would be willing to work on that, but I think that throwing alcohol at every economical quagmire situation is just a bad idea. And that's just my opinion, sir. Thank you for coming tonight.
No, I understand, Councilman Egan. I totally get it, and I'm doing okay without alcohol. I just know my clients, or just say my customers, are looking for it because it's on my menu. And again, my lease will not allow me to be a full bar. So if my property manager ever came to my establishment and I'm trying to sneak, as you so eloquently put it, alcohol and sell and all this other stuff, I'm done. He can terminate my lease right then and there, and I have no other place to go. So he's just as concerned, I'm just as concerned about the alcohol. All it is just an enhancement in my product. That's all it is. But I'm okay, and I really do appreciate your concern. I'm not being flippant or anything. I really do appreciate your concern about that.
Okay. We have, Mr. Maganelli, do you have a question or a comment here?
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. Actually, when I'm thinking of this question, some of your items, if you have the boozy ice cream to go, would that mean that you would have to have a package liquor license? And is that something that you've applied for?
So it depends on if it's going to be like, during COVID, they changed the restrictions to allow them to do a carry-out. It would depend on whether or not it complies with those regulations.
Okay. I thought about that right as I was asking the question as well.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. All righty. That's really all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Councilwoman Pagano.
Yes, well, I've been there.
Yes, ma'am.
And I've been quite a few times, and I bring my grandchildren. So there was something that someone said to me last night, which, it rings true. This is a family place. It's a wholesome place. People like to bring their children. And they were saying things about, it's a place where anyone can go, and about addiction, and people with addictions couldn't go into there or bring their children with fear of being tempted. And it really sort of like hit home to me. I'm like, oh, that's so true. And they said, well, it's sort of like liquor, marijuana, everything's being thrown at these children. There's nowhere to go as a family that just is like your place. that
Well,
they
thank
can
you.
go. So I took it to heart, and I'm like, she was so right. And that's why I cannot vote, because I can't, I just want my grandchildren to be exposed to something wholesome. It would be like Fritz's, throwing the rum pina colada.
And
ice
that's,
cream.
that
So
is
that's the only
A-okay,
reason,
yeah.
and that would be it. I understand your concept, and I would like it on like an adult level, if you had like a small little place that did it, but this being the type of place it is, and I've
Right.
been there, and I love bringing the kids there.
And you have been there a few times.
I know. With quite big orders.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's why.
It's
Nothing against
okay.
you,
I
because I
know.
love your
And
product.
I don't take it personal for
Okay.
you or Councilman Egan. I don't take it personal at all. Like I
And
said,
I
I'm
have-
doing okay. I have a very good product. I know that.
Yes. And I've asked you to come to my ward.
Yeah,
so-
yes, you have. Yes, you have. She's enticed me many times to come over.
Yeah, so, thank you.
So it's all good. I'm good. I just had to come and at least do my pitch. So, I do appreciate the time. I guess you all will get back with me on this. But thank you, and come visit me. I still got good stuff now.
I don't think we're done yet. Councilman O'Donnell, do you have any comments?
Yeah, right.
Tell you my reason.
Thank
I
you.
thought he had, Councilman
Councilman
O'Donnell
O'Donnell.
has something.
Yeah. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, Mr. McBride. I was just curious, I'm not familiar with the product. So this is a manufactured product that's infused
Yes, sir.
when
Yes.
you receive it.
Yes.
What percentage of alcohol would be?
It's light. It's 10, maybe or less.
And is it by the serving or is it by the?
It's by the serving.
So is it a container that's a sealed container for a
We
single
have
serving?
a seal label on it to be able to seal it, the container.
But then is there multiple servings out of that container?
No, just one.
It's a single serving.
Yes.
I understand. Ms. Graves, if I could ask, with, and I know we haven't got to it yet, but there's discussion on the agenda and going forward about amendments to the alcoholic beverages. Is there any such provision for any type of new packaging like this, newer, that has its own specific licensing addressed within those amendments?
No, there's no change to the types of licensing
Gotcha.
being,
Okay.
being offered by the city.
Okay, thank you for that. That's all the questions I have. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mayor, do you have anything? No, okay. Let's see. So we have a second on the floor, okay? And I guess we're going to need a roll call. Clerk, please call the roll.
Caputa? Shildroth? O'Donnell? Pagano? Siam? Harris?
No.
Manganelli? Egan?
The motion fails. Okay. Councilman O'Donnell moves to accept an application to transfer special use permit number 6948 from Rizwan Inc. to 2544 North Highway 67 LLC, doing business as Subway, to allow for a restaurant located at 2544 North Highway 67, seconded by Councilman Manganelli. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried, and the application is accepted. Councilman Egan moves to accept the application to transfer special use permit number 6947 from Rizwan Inc. to 2544 North Highway 67 LLC, doing business as Subway, to allow for a restaurant located at 8444 North Limburg, seconded by Councilman Siam. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried, and the application is accepted. Councilwoman Pagano moves to accept the application to transfer special use permit number 8321 from Parsons Convenience Store, Inc. to Salma, Inc., doing business as Gas Mart 48, to allow for a convenience store filling station and sign located at 12785 New Halls Ferry Road, seconded by Councilman Childeroth. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried and the application is accepted. And next on the agenda, we have resolutions. Resolution number 1067.
Resolution of the Florissant City Council in support of an application for the Missouri Blue Shield designation as part of Governor Kehoe's Safer Missouri initiatives.
Councilman Egan moves for a second reading, seconded by Councilman Manganelli. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Against?
Resolution of the Florissant City Council in support of an application for the Missouri Blue Shield designation as part of Governor Kehoe's Safer Missouri initiative.
Councilman Siam moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilman O'Donnell. Roll call vote, please.
Caputa? Shildroth? O'Donnell? Pagano? Siam? Harris?
Yes.
Manganelli? Egan? Resolution of the Florissant City Council in support of an application for the Missouri Blue Shield designation as part of Governor Kehoe's Safer Missouri initiative.
Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this resolution? Hearing none, clerk, please poll the council for the final vote.
Caputa? Shildroth? O'Donnell? Pagano? Siam? Harris?
Yes.
Manganelli? Egan?
Resolution number 1067 passes. Resolution number 1068.
Resolution of the City Council and the Mayor of the City of Florissant urging Missouri representatives to preserve the tax-exempt status of municipal bonds.
Councilman Caputa moves for a second reading, seconded by Councilwoman Pagano. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Against?
Resolution of the City Council and the Mayor of the City of Florissant urging Missouri representatives to preserve the tax-exempt status of municipal bonds.
Councilman Caputa moves for a third, seconded by Councilman Childeroth. Roll call vote, please.
Caputa. Childeroth. O'Donnell. Pagano. Siam. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Egan. Resolution of the City Council and the Mayor of the City of Florissant urging Missouri representatives to preserve the tax-exempt status of municipal bonds.
Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this resolution? Seeing none, clerk, please poll the council for the final vote.
Caputa. Shildroth. O'Donnell. Pagano. Siam. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Egan.
Resolution number 1068 passes. Bills for first reading. The next item on the agenda are the bills for first reading. Bill number 10060.
Ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Florissant to enter into agreement to receive federal grant funds through the Missouri Department of Transportation for 2 buses operated for the Florissant Local Elderly Resident Transportation Program.
Councilman Childeroth moves for a second reading, seconded by Councilman Manganelli. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Florissant to enter into an agreement to receive federal funds through the Missouri Department of Transportation for 2 buses operated for the Florissant Local Elderly Resident Transportation Program.
Councilman Childeroth moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilman Caputa. Roll call vote, please.
Caputa. Shildroth. O'Donnell. Pagano. Siam. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Egan. Ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Florissant to enter an agreement to receive federal grant funds through the Missouri Department of Transportation for 2 buses operated for the Florissant Local Elderly Resident Transportation Program.
Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill? Hearing none, clerk, please poll the council for the final vote.
Caputa. Shildroth. O'Donnell. Pagano. Siam. Harris.
Yes.
Manganelli. Egan.
Bill number 10060 passes and becomes ordinance number 9058. Bill number 10061.
Ordinance authorizing a special use permit for Selective Solutions LLC to allow for a monopole cell tower in an R4 single-family dwelling district for the property located at 1735 Charbonnet Road.
Bill number 10062.
Ordinance authorizing the transfer of special use permit number 6948 from Rizwan Incorporated to 2544 North Highway 67 LLC, DBA Subway, to allow for a restaurant located at 2544 North Highway 67.
Bill number 10063.
Ordinance authorizing transfer of special use permit number 6947 from Rizwan Incorporated to 2544 North Highway 67 LLC, DBA Subway, to allow for a restaurant located at 8444 North Lundberg.
Bill number 10064.
Ordinance authorizing an amendment to Chapter 600 alcoholic beverages by deleting it as an entirety and replacing it.
Bill number 10065.
Ordinance authorizing transfer of special use permit number 8321 from Parsons Convenience Store to Salma Incorporated, DBA Gas Mart 48, to allow for a convenience store filling station and sign located at 12785 North New Hulls Ferry Road.
Bill number 1066.
Ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute an easement with Ameren for service lines and transformer serving the Bangert Pool.
Councilman Schildroff moves for a second, seconded by Councilman Caputa. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Against?
Ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute an easement with Ameren for service lines and transformer serving the Bangert Pool.
Councilman Schildroff moves for a third reading, seconded by Councilman Caputa. Roll call vote, please.
Caputa. Yes. Shildroth. Yes. O'Donnell. Yes. Pagano. Siam. Harris.
Yes.
Meganelli. Yes. Egan. Yes. Ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute an easement with Ameren for service lines and transformer serving Bangert Pool.
Before the final vote is taken, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this bill? Hearing none, clerk, please poll the council for the final vote.
Caputa. Yes. Shildroth. Yes. O'Donnell. Yes. Pagano. Yes. Siam. Yes. Harris.
Yes.
Meganelli. Yes. Egan.
Yes.
See, bill number 10066 passes and becomes ordinance number 9059. Council, the next item on the agenda is council announcements. Do we have any announcements? Okay, Mayor Lowry.
I just have a couple quick things. Our document shredding and recycling event is set for April 26th at 9 a.m. at St. Ferdinand Park. And then, of course, we have the Valley Flowers is coming up on May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. That's all I have tonight.
Okay, the next regular meeting for the City Council will be on Monday, April 28th. Councilwoman Pagano moves to adjourn the regular meeting, seconded by Councilman Schildroth. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
Good job. I never would have thought that was going to get out.
Yeah.